There are a couple of things in regards to reflection. Let me give you a couple of stories about reflection and how it's different from thinking. And I'm going to borrow from my good friend Leo Tolstoy. There are lots of people out there who've gone through these stages, but right now Tolstoy comes to mind. And Tolstoy, he was cursed, really. He was cursed to feel and then to reflect, and then he had this ability to write and be creative. These are like diseases that'll destroy you. At the age of 15, one morning, Leo Tolstoy had a lot of power, i.e. money, servants, big house. While he just ordering himself 50 Subway sandwiches to go home and eat and watch the show Succession, at the age of 15, all of a sudden, this question comes upon him. And it's not just a question that would come and go. It is a question that he felt deeply. It was like an earthquake. Who am I? What's the meaning of my life? What's it all about? All of us in this class ask. We all ask it. It's just that you and I are very, very, very lucky because our life is very distracting. These questions are not going to last very long inside you. They get demolished very quickly. Now, and you don't really need to do any effort to have these questions go away. Life will do that for us. You know, you may have a very, very earnest presence in this room asking questions that you actually feel and care about. But just wait until 10:45 where you have to carry your sorry behind to a math class. And the moment you walk into a math class, all the questions you cared for in your ethics class, they all disappear. That's what life does. And that's what Tolstoy did to some extent. The moment he realized that he's feeling these questions too much, it's impacting his relationship to money. It's impacting his relationship to his friends, his parents, his position in life. He didn't know what to do with this poverty that was brought about by the question. So it was very creative to push it under the rug. At the age of 20, the same question or set of questions would come up. Who am I? What am I? What's the meaning of my life? Is there a goal? What should I do with the short few hours of my existence? But unlike us, the question wasn't intellectual. He didn't like read a book and then ask a question. His relationship to these questions were profoundly intimate, i.e. emotional. And he would feel himself being pushed around by the force of these questions. Again, he was very creative and talented to push the questions away so he could continue with life. For those of you in this class who have had parents that you didn't really enjoy, but you were forced to just see them on a daily basis, what would happen to you? You would repress certain emotions. You would put your physical body in a certain space where you didn't have to see your father, think about your father. And if you don't see your father, if you don't think about your father, well, you don't have certain emotions. You can just live your life casually, comfortably. When Tolstoy got to be around the mid-30s, these questions were profoundly forceful. They wouldn't leave him alone. He would wake up. What am I doing? He would be eating. What am I doing? He'd be with his wife. Why? He would see his kids. Why? And it came to a point where the questions would not leave him alone. It's like cancer. You're not only physically in the presence of these questions, you're also intellectually and emotionally. Now, the problem is the following. Whenever you have a problem in your life, you use your thick skull to find a remedy, to find a solution. Tolstoy came to realize there are no answers to these questions. Why is it that money all of a sudden raises his social status? What makes him different from a janitor? And he comes to reflect and he comes to realize nothing. What is the difference between the living and the dead? Nothing. The living just basically waste their time until they reach their death. In the end, they'll both be forgotten. Neither have done anything valuable. Tolstoy becomes depressed. Upon depression, he begins to reflect. Now, thinking, I say something to you in this class, and it goes against your belief system. Let me give you an example. Did you know, and this is mostly for my Muslim friends, there are, if I'm not mistaken, 114 chapters in the Quran. Did you know that in a museum in France, there is actually a Quran with 116 chapters? To some of my Christian friends, Did you know that there are approximately 40 Gospels? 40 of them. Not just Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Judas, Nicodemus, infancy, Mary. Now, imagine you are a devout Muslim or a devout Christian, and upon hearing what I say, you have a reaction. No, I've always believed in the Quran. I've always believed in the Prophet Muhammad. There is only 114. You react. You're not going to take your behind to the library. You're not going to do research. You react. It's called thinking. And you do it with good intentions. You want to go home and pray. You want your belief system to remain intact. You don't want to suffer unnecessary pain. You want to continue to believe in God. You want to believe that Jesus, in fact, did exist. If I was to tell you that, in fact, the virgin birth does not exist, not even in the Gospel of Luke, because in its original translation, it's not a virgin, it's simply a young woman. But if you were to think about it and then reflect on it, your belief system may collapse. Your rights and wrongs, do's and don'ts may collapse. So remember, thinking is always reacting to an external force. Always. Reflecting, on the other hand, you have an information coming to you, either from your own experiences, you witness it, or someone from the outside. You want to react, but you say, no, wait a minute. Let me think about what this person is saying. Why am I reacting in such a way? I mean, I don't own Islam or Jesus. I've inherited this stuff. My father slaved away. He saved $1 million. I've been watching TV most of my life. My father is dead. I got the money. I don't have any work ethics. I don't know the value of money. I don't know the value of hard work. I've just been playing video games and all of a sudden all this money's in my lap. Reflection means you detach yourself. You walk away from feelings. You walk away from history. You walk away from reacting and you sit somewhere, man. And it's a lonely place to be, because when you reflect, you have to do the work. You have to find the answers. You have to be the light to the problem and the solution. By the time you get to a place of reflection, you have suffered great many doubts, great many disappointments. Where Muhammad lived, it was like Costco. You have Buddhism, you have Hinduism, you have Judaism, you have Christianity, you have the Bedouin culture, tribal culture. The belief systems are there, and the belief system protect you. You stop when the light is red. You go when the light is green. Pay attention when it's orange. I mean, that's what culture gives you. How to live your life, but not for the Buddha, not for Muhammad, not for Moses, not for Jesus. They have this passion. They want to know themselves. They don't want to be told. They want to figure things out on their own, and that is the business of reflection. You think, you feel, you're lost, you have doubts, and you're in the dark. And you live in the dark for a long time. Now, the problem facing those of you who enjoy reflection, who enjoy feeling, you don't live in a reflective philosophical culture. If you've had a father or a mother or both parents who have worked tirelessly to just put food on the table, should you have a religious or an existential crisis, you may go to your dad and say, Dad, I am lost, I am so sad, I have no idea what to do. But your father has a culture inside him. That culture is, I go and till the ground at 6 in the morning, I come home at 6 at night, I shower, and I'm exhausted. I don't want to read, I don't want to talk, I want to be left alone. I want to just eat my food, watch some TV, enjoy my family, not by conversation. And if conversation, nothing heavy. So when you go to that particular father with that particular culture and history inside him, he's not going to help you. If on the other hand, your father is a Muhammad or a Jesus Christ, and all of a sudden you suffer a crisis, and you go to that particular person and say, Dad, I just feel alienated, lost and confused. What do I need to do? Your father's culture is what? Son, let me tell you. All of a sudden, at the age of 12, I looked at my parents and I realized I have zero feelings about them. I looked at the Talmud and I realized, or the Old Testament, and I realized I don't care about the books. None of the 38 books, I don't care about them. I went to the synagogue and I realized it's just bricks. Don't care about that either. And I realized all of a sudden I have these questions, these yearnings and longings. I want to figure things out on my own. I got lost. I was confused. I was in the dark. Not just for a month or two, for 18 long years. So let me tell you what it means to be lost, to have no parents, to be lonely, to be depressed, to go on this journey, whether it's intellectual, emotional, spiritual, doesn't really matter. Now, what you have is a culture, a father, who knows the steps. The younger the culture, the more unreflective the culture. If you're a human being, you have no choice but to suffer what human beings have been going through for thousands of years. Which means that every single one of you in this class, should you encounter an intellectual or even a physical crisis, you have no roadmaps. The culture doesn't give you one.